Alright, so Superman was a great movie, right? But there was one thing that we all saw, that we all noticed, that we just couldn't get out of our heads, right? Just one thing. No, not that. Well, no, maybe, no. No. I'm talking about this. This is a mural of superheroes from long ago. Superheroes that must have existed in this universe because of their mural status. This mural is in the Hall of Justice, and it intrigued me a little bit because it kind of told the story of superheroes long ago. The other thing I noticed is that not all of these characters would have existed at the same time. I mean, this character is not existing at the same time as this character. I mean, come on, are you serious? And with news coming out that James Gunn said that one of these characters was going to be played by a very well-known actor, it got me thinking. Who are these people? Why do they matter? And where will we see them next? The thought is that James Gunn gave us a very helpful list about what movies and TV shows are going to be coming out in the next few years. And I thought that if these characters were going to appear anywhere, it's probably an announced project. For movies, we have Supergirl, Clayface, Batman the Brave and the Bold, Teen Titans, Deathstroke, Bane, Wonder Woman, The Authority, Swamp Thing, and the Superman sequel, as well as the recently announced Man of Tomorrow project. And for TV shows, we have Peacemaker Season 2, which at the time of this recording has not finished yet. Do not tell me if these characters do not appear in Peacemaker Season 2. Crypto, Lanterns, Blue Beetle Animated Series, Creature Commandos Season 2, Paradise Lost, Waller, Booster Gold. So with that being said, let's start with this side of the mural. This is Sister Symmetry, but you might know her as Madame Xanadu. She made her comic book debut in Doorway to Nightmare in February of 1978. She is the youngest sister of Morgana, later to become Morgan Le Fay, half-sister of King Arthur. Her powers primarily involve magic and witchcraft. She's had run-ins with all the magic creatures. Phantom Stranger, Constantine, Zatara. Don't let them get too close! Do not get too close! Zatara, do not get too close to Madame Xanadu. Don't do it! That's gross. Don't do that. So where might we see her in the future? You can kind of think of her like DC's Agatha Harkness, where they're always in the background of all these characters' backstories. I can kind of see her in a couple places. Number one would be Paradise Lost, because of what James Gunn said here.
Paradise Lost is a story of Paradise Island, usually known as Themyscira, which is the birthplace of Wonder Woman. It's almost like Game of Thrones with Westeros, but with all of the inhabitants of Paradise Island.
My understanding is that this is going to take place before Wonder Woman. So really, it could take place at any time. I mean, if Madame Xanadu's origin or whatever is going to take place at King Arthur times, the Amazonians could need a magic user, and they want the best of the best. And, she's a woman, so, they probably want her over, a guy, the Amazonians and all that. So, I mean, she'd probably be invited on the island. I mean, she seems fine, right? Right? I mean, right? The other place I could see her is in Swamp Thing. She did appear in the 2019 TV series, which was taken from us too soon. Anyway, so that's one reason she could appear in Swamp Thing. The other reason is because Swamp Thing is a notable member on the Justice League Dark. But who else is on the Justice League Dark team? None other but Madame Xanadu. What? That's crazy. What? So yes, I believe that if we're to see this lady again, it will be either in Swamp Thing or Paradise Lost. So if we work our way this way, I'm walking. This guy here is Silent Knight. No, not that Silent Knight. Real name Bryant Kent was a 6th century knight. He kind of fought in King Arthur time, so he probably knows our main gal, Madame Xanadu. So what project will he appear in? I'm glad you asked. Swamp Thing. I know. Before you say anything, I know there will be variety. Not everyone will be in Swamp Thing unless we want everyone to be in Swamp Thing. Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be cool if everyone was in Swamp Thing? Swamp Thing needs some friends. I think these people would be friends with Swamp Thing. But in the post-rebirth of DC Comics, it turns out that our main boy over here is best friends with a guy known as Jason Blood. That name might not mean a lot to you, but I know him as the demon Etrigan, or Etrigan the Demon, as most people refer to him as. Etrigan just so happens to be a member of Justice League Dark. So if we are doing the Justice League Dark movie, maybe Silent Knight can appear. Maybe Etrigan's yo, that's my boy. That's my guy right there. He's a woo. Now, a retcon that was made to Silent Knight's origin was actually making him one of the previous incarnations of Hawkman. You see, the Hawks have had a complicated history. Not you! Get out of here! Get out of here! You see, Hawkman and Hawkgirl have had really weird origins. But one of them is that they're destined to die and reincarnate every time to find each other and fight evil. For that reason, I think a version of Silent Knight may appear in a Superman sequel, as Hawkgirl could find out about Hawkman and they could be, fallen in love or something like that. I don't know, man. Everyone wants her to get together with Jon Stewart, but where does Hawkman go? Who does Hawkman love? Who would love Hawkman? Not me. The next person on the line is Exoristos. She is an Amazonian warrior who got exiled off the island of Themyscira. Makes you wonder about a certain woman, doesn't it? Kinda sounds like a certain woman, doesn't it? But this character takes place way before Wonder Woman, so that's why I think it actually might be a good place to see her in Paradise Lost. Honestly, the whole show could be about her. It could be about her rise to power and then her eventual fall, being exiled from the island. Interesting fact about her, though, is that during the Revolutionary War, she actually regained her ability to go back to Themyscira, but she denied her access to it because she didn't want it anymore. But her weapon, her sword, ended up making its way back to Themyscira. Now, I wonder which woman got her sword. I wonder which woman. That's how you do the origins of a weapon solo, a Star Wars story. You don't just have them throw it to him by the campfire. You build up a character, and then that's the origins of Wonder Woman's sword. That would be an awesome, season of TV show. Instead of calling it, Paradise Lost, let's call it Exorcist and, the origins of Wonder Woman's sword. Otherwise, I could see her brought up in a Wonder Woman project. You could have it like she's just mentioned in passing as someone who was exiled off the island at some time, and Wonder Woman's like, I'm nothing like that person, but she actually is. Crazy enough, she is. Now we mosey our way on over here, and look at this. It's Black Pirate. Look at him. John Valor, Black Pirate, 6th century pirate. Mwah! Look at that. Basically, he's a pirate with a code of ethics. I would consider him to be a pirate Batman if there already wasn't a pirate Batman. We have this problem with a lot of these characters where their origins take place so far in the past that it's very unlikely that we'll see them in modern day, unless they have an ability or power that makes them last that long. I mean, we could say that they're all going to show up in some time-traveling TV show, but I don't think James Gunn is going to do that to us. Instead, I've got two kind of out there pitches for them. My number one is Superman, for the sole reason that he appeared in Action Comics number 23 in May of 1940, and also his descendants are known for taking on the mantle, so we could just see him chilling, on a park bench. That'd be cool. Why don't we see more people on park benches? My other idea is Wonder Woman or Paradise Lost. Now, besides the fact that Black Pirate showed up in a lot of issues of sensational comics, to me, it makes the most sense for someone with a boat to find Themyscira. I mean, what happened to all the boat people? Come on, where are all my boat people at? If anyone was able to find Themyscira, it would be like a master of the sea, And if anyone was to escape, it'd be that guy. Be that guy right there. Look at him. Look at him. He could do it. Miss Liberty. There's actually not too much to say about her. She was an 18th century fighter in Revolutionary War times. She was a nurse who took up arms to fight the enemy. Not a lot to say. The weird part about her origin is actually that she got contacted from a Time Lord from the year 3000, not the Jonas Brothers, and got contacted and brought to the future to destroy an evil AI brain. Along with her, they also brought forth Black Pirate. Whoa, that's the guy! That's the guy from The Thing! Enemy Ace, Jonah Hex, Miss Liberty, and Viking Prince, which made up the 5 warriors of forever. She's also the ancestor of Liberty Bell. Honestly, this is going to be the first time that I'm going to say this, and it won't be the last, but the most suitable person, the most suitable project for her to be a part of is actually going to be Booster. Her whole thing is kind of like being from the past, so if you're going to show her in some capacity, I think it has to be a Booster Gold setting, but I'm going to get more into where I think she should appear later on, because another character kind of complements it. And we're just going to sneak past Whip Whirlwind. We'll be back for him. I promise we'll be back for him. Super Chief. Wow. Look at you, buddy. So there have been a couple Super Chiefs over the comics history. This Super Chief, I believe, is a character by the name of Flying Stag, who was a 15th century Native American who was like the best fighter ever. You know, like most of these guys are. And then he found a meteorite and turned it into a necklace, and whoa, superpowers, that's crazy, what? In terms of where he could appear in the future, the thing about him is that his necklace gives him a stated prolonged life. So timeline's not as much of a factor when we're trying to consider where he should appear in the future. Honestly, I see him in a Superman sequel. In the comics, after the death of Superman, many people defended Metropolis while he was away. One of those people was Super Chief, and he became part of a group called the Supermen of America. Well, I don't think we're going to kill Superman anytime soon, considering what happened to the last guy. Rumor does have it that Man of Tomorrow, which will be a direct follow-up to Superman, is going to have Lex Luthor and Brainiac. I could see a world in which Brainiac, like, kidnaps Lex Luthor and Superman, and then those two are off for a while, and people just think they're dead. So, like, Super Chief might come out of retirement, or wherever he might be, and be like, hey, I gotta go I gotta go defend Metropolis. Look at Metropolis. It needs me. Actually, maybe never mind. Our next hero on Mural Road is a twofer, actually. El Diablo and Lucifer the Horse. Now, this is not the same El Diablo from the Suicide Squad. No, this is a Western man. And his horse. Lazarus Lane is his name, and he's basically Ghost Rider. Nope. That's it. I mean, he's not like the spirit of vengeance or anything, but he's got a whip that can burst into flames. He defies death. The more and more I learn about this guy, he just seems like Ghost Rider. So what movie will he appear in? Whatever crap Marvel's putting out these days, right? Am I right? No, fine. I think he would probably be in Swamp Thing. He appears in Volume 2, Issue 85 of Swamp Thing, and he has enough of, like, mysterious, vague magic around him that if I am correct in assuming that they are setting up a Justice League Dark movie, it might be cool to see him on that team. And oh yeah, the horse. Everyone likes a horse. You guys like a horse, right? So now we walk over here and whoa, it's Hugo Danner. That's crazy. I had no idea. A gladiator. He has a standard generic power set where he can run and jump and stuff. He was created after his father injected his mother with basically the super soldier serum. Gladiator is also believed to be an early inspiration for Superman as a character, so it's kind of nice to see that he was actually in this Superman tale. In terms of where he might appear, he is mostly a World War II character, so that complicates the timeline as where he should be. My idea of where to put him is actually to have his son, Arnold Monroe, because he was a part of the Supermen of America. So him and Super Chief could like appear in the potential Superman sequel. Otherwise, I could see him in Creature Commandos Season 2. I imagine that this would be like a flashback, like with what G.I. Robot had with Sergeant Rock. It could have the two of them fighting together, and it could actually be kind of cool. It could establish this character and like give us an in-universe reason why he belongs on the mural and why G.I. doesn't. Why is G.I. not on the mural? Give G.I. a mural. All right, so we're walking a little further down, and whoa, who invited this guy? This is the Ghost of Flanders, and yep, he's exactly what he sounds like. He's a literal ghost of a soldier from World War I, because apparently in DC Comics, death is really just a suggestion. His whole deal is that he died in the trenches of World War I, but instead of moving on, he stuck around as a spirit of vengeance, still fighting for justice, which I don't know, man. Being trapped on Earth forever because your unfinished business is punching Nazis sounds kind of rough, but at the same time, respect. Dude's dedicated. Now, where could he show up? I think the obvious answer is Creature Commandos. That show already has Frankenstein, Weasel, GI Robot, so why not throw a literal ghost soldier? He fits the lineup perfectly, especially if Waller is cobbling together every freak and reject she can get her hands on. Plus, imagine the comedy of a team briefing where half the squad can't even see him. Instead, Weasel's just staring at empty air while Rick Flag Sr. screaming, "He's right there! He's standing right in front of you!" That's my impression of Rick Flag Sr. But honestly, Ghost of Flanders is the type of guy who'd only ever show up probably in an animated show or Creature Commandos. He's too weird and too tragic for a mainline movie. Still, he's on the Mural, which means he did do some kind of importance to be notarized in the DCU. And if we continue walking this way, we come across Sandman. Now, I know what you're thinking, but it's not this Sandman, or this Sandman, or even this Sandman. No, instead, it's this guy. It's this guy, Wesley Dobbs. He's another World War II guy, but he has a gun that makes people fall asleep. I love it. Each time he left the defeated criminal with a poem enclosed in origami. I think that's kind of fun. Another fun fact is that this guy has a sidekick known as Sandy the Golden Boy, and I think that's really funny. Now, ideally, Sandman should go in a Justice Society project, but we don't have one of those. So my thoughts is that we could see our little EP gentleman over here in a Waller TV show. Now, hear me out. You might be thinking to yourself, what does Waller have to do with Eeps? Well, I could see my vision for the Waller show is that it would be Waller's rise back to the top. After Peacemaker Season 1, where Adebayo released the information that Waller was behind everything, I think it makes the most sense that she's going to need to rise back to the top of Argus. And I could see her using her government connections. I see Sandman less as a superhero in this continuity, but more as like a character who gave up the superhero mantle, who has become a government official and can help Waller rise up the ranks. I think that'd be cool. Don't you guys think that'd be cool? I think that'd be cool. Amazing Man, yet another World War II guy. He got his powers after a bomb that the Ultrahumanite created exploded, granting him the ability to mimic whatever properties he touches. Now, I'm going to get this right out there. I think he's going to appear in Peacemaker Season 2, specifically in the other dimension. We already know what's going on over there, and we all know that Ultrahumanite exists over there. Based on what we know about Earth 2, I think it's reasonable to assume that there is a non-zero chance that someone like Amazing Man might appear. I'm trying not to spoil the new season, so I'm trying really hard to not say anything too spoilery, but if you know, you know. Whoa, look out, it's Zatara! No, I'm just kidding. It's Zatara. He's cool. Now, you might know him from Young Justice. That's where I was first introduced to him. And wow, what an arc he had. That was crazy, wasn't it? He's your basic magic user. A lot of people may like what Zatara brings with him. That being Zatanna, his daughter. Zatanna is a character people have wanted in live action for a very long time, so seeing Zatara is a really cool way of making this distant dream seem more like a reality. As to where he should be, I'll get the obligatory Swamp Thing out of the way. We all know that magic users go over there. Get over there. Over there. Otherwise, a cool place for him to be, I think, would be helping out the Teen Titans. A lot of the time, the Teen Titans get mentored by Batman, because Robin's usually like the leader of the Teen Titans. I think it'd be cool if this incarnation of the Teen Titans, Zatanna is actually a part of the team, and her and Raven can be like magic friends, and Zatara would show up to like introduce Zatanna to the rest of the team, and like, you know, he can tell everyone about Trigon, and then at the end, you know, the Teen Titans can be like, we're gonna kill Trigon. We're gonna kill Trigon. We're gonna kill him. Liberty Bell. This is the one we put a pin in. Let's just take that. Let's take the pin out. Liberty Bell is the descendant of Miss Liberty from the before one. She's a World War II gal, so before you say anything, yes, throw her in the Creature Commandos pile because she might know GI Robot. But I think the more fun thing about her character is what she does after the war. She ends up marrying Johnny Quick and having a daughter named Jessie Quick. That's right, some of you may know Jessie Quick from The Flash. But we don't have any definite news on a Flash project. I think we all know what speedsters like to do. Say it on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Time travel! Booster Gold is our time travel project and will relate to any upcoming entry as well. I am not kidding when I say that they have the grounds for an amazing story to be told with this character and speedsters alike. I can see a story where Jessie goes back in time to meet her mom and have a deep story and connection about intergenerational trauma. I think it's going to be good, and we're going to get back to it because there's another character who will play a part in this story. Now we're on to Bullet Man and Bullet Girl, and yes, it's exactly what you're imagining. They're giant chrome bullet helmets and colorful spandex. Their origin is peak Golden Age. Jim Barr, a police and scientist, invents a serum that makes him super strong and smart, then whips up a bullet-shaped helmet that lets him fly. And because the comic code hadn't been a thing yet, he immediately thought to himself, you know who should join me murdering people with my bullet helmet? My girlfriend! So Joan Mason becomes Bullet Girl with the same serum and helmet. Now, the mural includes the both of them because they are marketed as DC's power couple of the 40s. Now, where do they appear? I'm glad you asked. Who else has helmets that makes them fly, huh? Listen, guys, I really struggled with this one. These are two characters that are World War II people as well, and I could say Creature Commandos, but I don't want everyone to be Creature Commandos. And the only other thing I could think of is that they kind of have Peacemaker helmets, so we're putting them in Peacemaker, and they're the origin of Peacemaker's helmets. I decide. I'm the decider. Whoa! This is the character that made me want to make this video, Max Mercury. Other names he went by was Whip Whirlwind. That's right. That's the guy over there. There are two of them. Also, he's a speedster. So here's my thought. I think Max Mercury went back in time, went by the name of Whip Whirlwind, fought crime in both the past and the even further past. I think this is going to be the plot of the Booster Gold thing. I think we'll see Max Mercury back in time and even further back in time, and we'll see Liberty Bell and Miss Liberty and Jessie Quick, and it'll be a story of generational trauma and how events back then re-affect our modern times. I can see it. I can almost picture it in a way, but I can't write it. Someone better than me has to write this. I can see this movie being like Enter Nowhere, except it'll actually be good, and people will know what I'm talking about, and it'll be a TV show, not a movie. All right, so the next duo is just hilarious. Meet TNT and Dynamite. Yep, those are their real names. And yes, their gimmick is exactly what you think. When they touch each other, not like that, they explode. That's it. That's the power. They can't shoot fire from their hands. They can't fly. They just detonate when they high five. Now just imagine while you're out hanging out, playing cards, one of you wins and you go in for a nice high five to say nice, and then boom! There goes the living room. And not even think about hugging. Hugging's out of the picture. You had a tough day. Therapy session gone. Over. The couch gone. They first showed up in the 1940s during the tail end of the Golden Age. And even back then, you kind of could tell the writers were like, oh, what powers haven't we used yet? Exploding? Cool, but, you know, what an inconvenient power. Now, obviously, every World War II character is included in Creature Commandos, but I don't want these people to be in Creature Commandos. So, where could they show up in the DCU? For me, this also screams Peacemaker. Maybe not season 2, but maybe a potential season 3, because Peacemaker screams to me as a series that is defined by making fun of the DC universe in a lighthearted way. They're always so great at that, and I could see them doing that with these characters as well. Two characters who just explode. I think it could be fun. Okay, now we're getting the Phantom Lady. And no, she's not a ghost. She's not a lady made of smoke. She's basically a spy in a bathing suit with one really, really bright flashlight. That's kind of her whole gimmick. She first showed up in the 1940s rocking what was basically a swimsuit with a cape. Comics were wild back then, and her weapon of choice? A thing called the blacklight projector, which, by the way, is just a glorified flashlight that blinds people and makes her look invisible. Criminals would get shined by this and be like, what's happening? Who turned out the light? Well, she's just standing there 3 feet away in a bright yellow cape. Now, in later versions of the comics, DC tried to make her more of a serious person by folding her into Shade, which is basically DC's budget version of Men in Black, but more swamp monsters. And honestly, I think that's the move here, because the mural doesn't just throw in swimsuit-era heroes unless Gunn's planning on modernizing them. So, where could she show up? Creature Commandos. It's the most obvious fit, not because she's a World War II character, but also yes. Rather, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had Frankenstein on it, and he's in the show, so connection. Imagine Phantom Lady as the, person in the field agent babysitting the squad, including like Weasel and Frankenstein. And she's like the only one in the room who actually does like recon, while Weasel's over there like chewing on a corner of a chair. I can see the comedy now. Waller sends her into a serious mission briefing and the team's like, cool, so blow everything up. Meanwhile, she's just sighing into the camera like she's Jim from The Office. We need more Jims from The Office, don't we? Atomic Knight. So now, we've got Atomic Knight. And man, this guy just screams Cold War comic book ideas. He's literally a dude in medieval armor, but the twist is it's radiation proof. So imagine if someone's like walking in Fallout New Vegas but said, nah, I'm gonna go LARPing instead. That's him. The real name of this guy is Gardner Grail. And the story goes that he survived World War III. That's right, we're not even talking World War II anymore. We're talking World War III, which might be happening sooner than we think. He was able to survive World War III because of his armor, then just kept walking around like some nuclear paladin. He's not fighting dragons, he's not fighting mutants. It's kind of ridiculous, but tell me you wouldn't want to see that visual in live action. So where do I think he fits in the DCU? I think two options make sense. First, The Lantern Show. That show is supposed to be a detective mystery thing. So how cool would it be if Jon Stewart or Hal Jordan stumbles onto some abandoned wasteland zone on Earth and bam, Atomic Knight's just been chilling there the whole time like, oh yeah, I've been guarding this thing since the 60s. He could be like a one-episode legend. But the other place I think he could be is Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. If you haven't read the book, the story is all about a bleak survival of broken colonies. You could drop Atomic Knight in there, and he instantly fits the vibe. He could be the whole tragic figure keeping this tiny group alive, and nothing but a sword and his suit. It also sells the idea that humanity has always had survivors, even in the darkest timeline. So yeah, Atomic Knight is goofy as hell, but it's the kind of goofy DC is built on. Alright, so the next guy is Freedom Beast, and wow, this guy is a nightmare. His power, he can merge animals together. That's it. He doesn't just talk to animals like Aquaman. He's not just shape-shifting like Beast Boy. No, Freedom Beast goes full Island of Dr. Moreau on people. He'll be like, hey, you like eagles? You like gorillas? And then you'll never sleep again. Think of the possibilities. So, where do I think he's going to fit? I think number one is going to be the Waller Show, because that's about a morally gray government making choices, and Freedom Beast is literally the kind of asset a shady program would keep on a leash. Someone they would be sad to know, but someone who could help them when the times are rough. My other two options are Teen Titans and Swamp Thing. For the same reasons. In DC, all of plant life is connected to something called the green, which picks an avatar, and that usually is Swamp Thing. Meanwhile, animals in the DC are connected to the red. The red's avatar could be Freedom Beast. He could be connected to Beast Boy, who has connections to the red, or he could be in Swamp Thing for, like fighting. You guys know the color wheel, right? Red and green are like the opposite, so they would fight. Okay, so this one is actually a little easier because people kind of already know him. Wildcat, Ted Grant. He's basically just a grumpy old boxer who refuses to die and somehow ends up training half the Justice League. Seriously, this guy's resume is insane. He taught Batman how to punch. He sparred with Superman. He's basically the tough uncle of the DC universe. Now, his whole deal is that he's not flashy, no powers, no gadgets, just gloves and grits. That's why he's awesome. He grounds the DCU. You look at the mural and you see the Atomic Knight with a glowing sword, and you see Freedom Beast fusing like giraffes and gorillas, and you think Wildcat's there, and he's just a dude, but he'll still knock your teeth out. The balance is important. So where could he pop up? The easy answer is Batman the Brave and the Bold, because imagine Damian walking into a gym, all like cocky assassin vibes, and then Ted Grant shows up, this 60-year-old dude in a hoodie, just floors him with one jab. Damian's ego would be shattered, and Batman would nod at him and be like, hey, told you to respect your elders. That's how Batman sounds now. That's Batman. I wouldn't mind if Wildcat became a reoccurring mentor figure across projects, like he could show up in Peacemaker just to show Vigilante how to throw a real punch, or cameo in the Waller Project as one hero she can't manipulate because he doesn't care about politics, he just wants to fight. He's basically the connective tissue of the normal hero side of DC. All right, so now we've got Vibe, and man, this one was tough, like really hard, because Vibe is a character who should be cooler than he is, but he's always stuck in this weird spot where DC doesn't know what to do with him. Does he want to be a comic relief character or an actual powerhouse? For anyone who only knows him from the Flash TV show, yeah, Cisco jokes, he's got pop culture references, got a science brain and great vibes. But in the comics, Vibe has legitly terrifying powers. He can manipulate vibrations so precisely that he can mess with the multiverse itself. Like, the guy isn't just shaking the ground. He can detect dimensional rifts and even screw with the Speed Force. That's crazy power for someone who usually gets written as the breakdancing Justice League member. Now, here's where it gets interesting. We've heard leaks that Lanterns may be setting up Darkest Night, and if that's true, Vibe was a Black Lantern in the comics, and he can do it again. I believe in him. I think he's good. I'll be honest with you, I struggled so much with this character. He doesn't fit really well with any of these projects. If you have an idea, please comment them down below, but we'll move on to the next guy. Gunfire. And no, that's not just a code name or anything like that. This guy's actual power is that he can turn anything into a gun. And I mean anything. You hand him a coffee mug, gun. Traffic cone, gun. The chair you're sitting on right now, surprise, it's an assault rifle. And yeah, at first you think, that's kind of sick, but then it sinks in that this man cannot live a normal life. Like, he's at Olive Garden with someone passes in the breadsticks, and suddenly the table's packing heat. Not even John Wick would survive a dinner with this guy. The Gunfire is very much a 90s creation, when DC was like, okay, how do we out-extreme Marvel? Guns! More guns! All the guns! He's basically the answer to the question if Rob Liefeld designed a metahuman. And honestly, he's kind of terrible. But terrible in the exact way James Gunn loves to dust off and make funny again. So, where would he fit? I think the natural spot is that rumored Deathstroke Blade movie, because if that thing ends up being the backdoor Secret Six story, where Waller or some shady group throws together a group of morally gray mercs, Gunfire's the perfect wild card. He's not the mastermind, he's not the bruiser, he's not even like a serious guy on the team. He's the one everyone else hates having around because he turns everything into weapons. And finally, Maxwell Lord, our boy, standing here on the mural, holding out his hand with an atom. And at first you're like, cool science guy, but then you remember Maxwell Lord doesn't need powers to be dangerous. His actual power is manipulation. This is the guy who can walk into the room with Superman and Batman and somehow walk out controlling the room. Historically, has done some insane things. He helped create the Justice League International, then betrayed them. He shot Blue Beetle in the head because Ted Kord wouldn't fall in line. He's been behind shady metahuman registries, shadow government, and let's not forget the time Wonder Woman had to snap his neck to stop him. This is not a guy you underestimate. So, what does it mean that this guy's on the mural? Is it ego? Sure, the guy's got an ego bigger than Lex Luthor. He'd absolutely sneak his face onto this piece of DC history just to say, yeah, I belong here too. But what if it's more than that? What if Maxwell Lord isn't just on the mural? What if he's behind it? The thread connecting all these weird random heroes together. Think about it. James Gunn already said there's a character who's kind of the main character. And if it's not Superman, and if it's not Batman, what if it's the guy pulling the strings, making sure every event happened exactly how it needed to? Maxwell Lord as the overseer of history, the puppeteer, the man making sure Sister Symmetry is on the island. Silent Knight reincarnates as Hawkman, and Gunfire is turning forks into Uzis, I guess? Point is, if Maxwell Lord is truly the through line, then the whole mural isn't just Easter eggs. It's his scrapbooks, his receipts, and that's terrifying because a villain who can out-punch Superman is scary, but a villain who can write history? That's a whole nother level. So when you put it all together, what does this mural really mean? It's not just random Easter eggs. It's basically saying Superman wasn't the first. The DC has always had heroes. They've existed in every century, in every war, in every impossible situation. And it's James Gunn planting seeds that, yeah, he's not afraid to get weird. He's got to pull them from corners of DC that nobody's touched before and somehow make us care about the guys who can't high-five without blowing up. It makes the DCU feel older, bigger, richer. And it tells us one thing. Every one of these characters, no matter how obscure, could matter later. Hi guys, I hope you liked the video. Like, subscribe, do all this stuff. Comment down below where you think these characters should appear. Tell me where I'm wrong. And also tell me what character you want to appear in the new DCU. I want Codpiece. Codpiece. I want that guy. Okay, bye.